So just to kind of illustrate here, I'm just doing a quick drive at night, but you can see I have on the left side of the screen the front camera, and then on the right side of the screen is kind of the vehicle statistics. You can see it says 17 miles an hour, but it has kind of all these nice little stats and everything up here. Alternatively, if I hit the back arrow here and go back to kind of the page, we can see it now has CarPlay. I've connected my phone via Bluetooth to the connection, and I'm just driving in a neighborhood here that I found. And I put in the directions just as an example to like a state park. But now we have Waze on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side of those same stats. And you can see the vehicle picture on the right-hand side. So if I let go of the accelerator, you can see in the back, the red shows up because it is braking. It has the speed limit right here, which is the same speed that's listed right here. So it's showing kind of the same information. We can see it has the green lights, the fog lights, the automatic lights are enabled, which is the same thing that's right here on this side of the screen. So it has basically everything that you would see within your vehicle on the main MCU right here visible for you to be able to view on your dash. Hey everybody, it's Matt with MyModelYAdventure, and today we are unboxing and going to be installing a front dashboard screen for Model 3, or for me, my Model Y. This is the ninth version of kind of this front screen. It's for both older Intel versions of the car as well as the new AMD Ryzen. This also includes, for a few extra bucks, a front camera that I picked up with it. So that way you can mount this to kind of the front of your car. It does include a wiring kit here, which is going to be very basic for either Intel or AMD Ryzen. The various cables that plug into like the OBD ports or for power ports, it looks like. So we'll go through what's going to be applicable there. Looks like included in here. Oh, this is the vent guides. Let me just unbox this really quick here. And this kind of shows you where in the vent or the kind of cover where to put all of the various wires. So that way your dash screen is lined up when you're viewing it. And then in here is the actual screen. And then it looks like there's, says here, digital instrument cluster, 9 inches. So that's what the 9 stands for. My apologies. 9 inches. It's 1920 by 720. So let me get this unboxed and taken out of here so we can get a better look at it. So I have everything kind of fully unboxed. It does also have this metal kind of plate that you put on the back side of the dash cover that's used to help secure the screen in position. But here we have the front-facing camera, a little pry tool. This is all wiring, and the extra length here is what you're going to basically run underneath your dashboard all the way across to plug into these connections. And there's some various connections of ports that we'll walk through where everything is plugging in on the front right-hand side of the vehicle. The main portion I kind of wanted to highlight here, this is the front screen. Now, you'll see me in the reflection there. Hi there. On the bottom, you'll see there's vents. So the great part is, on the back of here, vents pass through the screen underneath, so you don't lose your air conditioning or heat, which some of these other screens have, or don't have, I should say. So you lose all of that circulation that would be going right onto you. So this is one of the nicer or more premium versions that includes all those extra vent pieces on the bottom so you can still stay warm or cold. So awesome to see that. The last little piece is a USB A to C adapter. There is a port right here, which does support updating or receiving updated firmware. I know some recent updates from Tesla have done some goofy things with some of the screen softwares where it's not working. showing your battery percentage could be like 105% or something, based on some of the more, I'd say, updated range estimates, I'm assuming, that Tesla is putting on their vehicles, or some other just weird software things. So this does receive updates that you can put through there. So now that we've kind of unboxed everything, let me kind of go through then what the actual installation steps are. Of the first part we'll kind of do is the main wiring, the screen going onto the dashboard where everything goes there. I'll also run the wires for the front camera too, and how you can mount that onto your vehicle. To install the screen, the first thing we're going to do is remove the dashboard. And it's basically held on, at least on my Model Y, there is a bolt under here we have to undo. I believe it's on each side. Some older Model Ys, they don't have the bolts. It just kind of clips into place. So it is going to vary based on your particular model. But to do that, the first thing we have to do is remove this little cover plate here. And you can see, at least for me, I have this little hex, I think it's a hex or a Torx bolt we have to remove while we're down. And over here, we're also going to take off this cover plate, which you want to lift or pull back and then lift, because it has this bottom part you have to lift up. And then that will give us access, after we remove this push pin, to be able to pull this cover off, because down here is where we have to do the wiring. So let me do this actually on both sides, the passenger and the driver, and remove the bolt, and then we'll go through removing the dash. It just clips and pull it up and be able to take it out, because we're going to be using this kind of tape, I guess is the best way to kind of describe it. It's going to mount onto the dash piece over here, so we know exactly where to mount the screen for the wires to go through. So I did remove the passenger side screw. It's a T20, at least again for my vehicle. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side that I did on the passenger side, and kind of remove these plastic trim pieces. Again, they're just held on with clips. A little hard to do one-handed here. There we go. It's kind of wedged in there. But I'll do the same thing here. Remove this piece. Actually, I don't have to remove this piece because we're not doing anything down here. There is just the T20 bolt or screw. So let me remove that piece on the driver's side, because that's all we have to do here. Now that the screws are removed on the passenger and driver's side, you should just be able to lift this up. You can see it already popped out. And that's it. You can just now lift it up. There is potentially some foam. You can kind of see here at the bottom, some foam, and it might be attached still to, I don't know if you can see all the way down on the driver's side. There's a little bit attached over there. So I'm going to run to the other side and make sure that that is removed. So that way I don't rip any of the foam, and then take the dashboard off. So I just wanted to show the foam here before I remove it, so you can see what I'm talking about. So there's a little bit of foam that's right here. It's kind of just glued on. So I'm just going to peel it off of the dashboard, and we'll put that back on when we go to reinstall this. So I have the dashboard removed. It's just sitting on my garage floor. Now we're going to use this sticker that they provided, which is just basically going to align onto here, so you know exactly where to put the screen to go through the holes on the dashboard. Just going to remove it from the paper, and then set it on here. Oops. So it's got the 3 dots here that are basically going to line up to the 3 holes that you want to insert the wires in for the screen. So let me go grab the screen, so then we can run the wires through it. So I have the screen right here. On the back of the screen are the 3 wires that come out. At least the order for me that the wires are coming out of here is it's going to be black first, then yellow, then red. So basically you're going to shove into the hole, into the vent, each of those different wires. You can go through on the other side and just basically pull them through all the way until you have this sitting flush against the vent. And then we're also going to use that metal plate that was in the package and then the screws to be able to secure the screen to the dash. So I went and just grabbed a towel because I want to flip this over so I can secure everything to it. The kit comes with a bag here with some screws in it. It comes with 6. 4 of them are going to be used to basically hold with the metal plate onto the screen. The other 2, you can use them to secure the front mounted camera to your bumper. I'm going to go through kind of a different solution versus using that. You do want to make sure before you secure your screen onto your dashboard, you basically want to make sure that the wires are going in straight here. You know, you don't want to put the screen on crooked or other way around. You just basically want to help put it on straight. That way it is going to be centered when you're looking at it. But then the other part is just make sure you remove this, move it back here. Remove the tape that you put down so you don't have to look at that because you now know where the wires go. You don't need this anymore. So it just slides in through there. And then on the back side, there are 4 spots here. You can see 1 through here, this vent, this vent, this vent, this vent. And then it's going to basically take the wires. You do want to run them through the mount here. And then this is basically going to get secured onto here. And you're going to take the screws and put them through each one of the holes. So I'll do that off camera. You don't have to watch me do that. But you do want to put the side with kind of the metal clip facing down so it has something to kind of lock onto and not move around. Now that we have the screen mounted securely onto the dashboard with the metal clip, we need to connect the wires before we can put the dashboard back into the car. It's super simple. They have labeled the connection here for black and red, 1 and 2. Again, same thing on here, 1 and 2. And then the yellow one is labeled number 3, which is for the camera. It's as simple as taking the connectors, plugging them in to both sides, using the longer harness that's over here. We're going to basically run across the dashboard down into the passenger footwell area to install everything. And the same thing with the camera wires. So let me just connect these up really quick. So that's connected, and then there's a connection here, which is just going to basically plug into the connection from the wiring harness. And then the same thing, we're going to take the camera plug, connect it to number 3. So now that we have all of the wires connected, let me go kind of run these onto the dash and show you how to put everything, and then we'll put the dashboard back onto the car. So I put the camera back up here. I have the dash here, all of the wires. We're basically going to run the wires in between where the dashboard goes and basically on top of this plastic shroud. So I'm just going to generally place the dashboard for now. Let me go to the driver's side. We're basically going to help put it into position here. So on this side, I have the wires coming down. And then we need to do the same thing on the driver's side to make sure everything is good on that side. Let me just switch over there. So on the driver's side, basically going to slide the dashboard into position. Do the same thing onto the passenger side. So then we can securely push this back into position. There we go. All right, Let me then move back over to the passenger side so we can start work on wire management. All right, I grabbed a light just so it's a little bit easier to see. It's getting darker now that it's getting into the winter season here in North America. So the dashboard is mounted back into position. The screw holes are lined up for each side of the screws. So then you just basically take the screws, put them back in. Let me go really quick over to the passenger side and just kind of show where I ran the wires through. Let me put the camera down here. So I ran mine right up above this clip. There's plenty of room for them to fit into here because you're basically going to run these down here. There's an existing wiring harness. Let me take the phone off the mount here. Apologies for that. You can see let me put the light down so you can see. So there's this existing wiring harness that's right here, just runs down. So I'm just going to follow this down to run the wires down over to here. There is plenty of slack. So don't feel like you have to pull this very tight underneath the dashboard. There's plenty of slack that you'll be able to store down into the lower footwell area. But in essence, what you're going to do is plug in the wires now. So let me get the camera set up to kind of walk through that. So let's go through the wiring. The first plug that we have here is this bigger one, which is for AMD cars. Which is going to plug into the CAN bus that's right here. So I'm looking into the car. I already have into here my auto presenting door handles plug into there. But luckily this includes an extra port that I can plug those into. So I'm just going to simply unplug what's here, which is for the door handles. Plug in the one for the screen. There's only one way to plug it in. You can't go wrong. I know my hand's blocking it, but it just plugs right into there. And then I'm going to take the mount that was in there for the door handles. I think it goes this way here. Plug that back in. You, of course, won't have to deal with that if you don't have the auto presenting door handles, which is kind of what this extra ECU is back here that my pinky's pointing towards. The other plug that we need to deal with is the power plug, which is just simply plugged in right over here. Let me move this one out of the way. Again, this is a 2024 Model Y. Your specific car may be different where things are located or how to plug everything in. But it's a matter of just simply unplugging this. They have kind of a, similar to the other one, plug that just goes in between both of them. So let me plug this one into here. Again, they can kind of only go one way, and then this just plugs into the new connection here. A little hard to do one-handed. There we go. Let me make sure this was fully seated. I don't feel like I got a good connection in there. There we go. Okay. And then this purple wire is for the dash cam, which will run basically through. There's a hole that's back behind the carpet. We'll just have to pull this down a little bit more where I have the power wires running for the automatic door handles for that ECU to get power. And there's a grommet that's on the other side in the front that we'll be able to access. But you can see right now, I don't know if you can see through the screen or the white cover there. Let me zoom in a little bit. We got power to that dashboard screen. So let me finish with some of the wire management aspect here, and then we'll walk through the screen before we go and run through the front camera. So I'm sitting in the driver's seat. Let me try to fix the focus here. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and remove the peel for the screen, and we can see here, looking through, I'm kind of sitting where I normally sit right now. The phone is about eye level like this, and I got great visibility to the screen. I'm 6'4". You can, of course, adjust the seat a little bit. This would look great with a yoke, which I'm considering changing the full kind of custom custom carbon fiber wheel I have now to a yoke one. But we have full access visibility to the screen here, which is great. We can see it is, let me get the focus here, 71%. The range says 1,215 miles. I wish that would be right. So this may need a firmware update, which I may need to reach out to where I picked this up from at Teammate to get that kind of firmware update. Something else I wanted to show, so it is a touchscreen. If I just slide down, I can get to the settings menu, and I can change a couple of things to be my personal preference. So I'm going to change this from Celsius to Fahrenheit. I'm going to change it to a 12-hour system, as that's what I use. I'm going to change the brightness to actually leave it to follow whatever the main screen is showing. That way they're kind of in sync here. Same thing with day and night. I'm going to change the color from white to blue, as that's what my car is. I'm going to change the tire pressure from bar to PSI, as that's what I have. Front camera on, that's what would show up if I held down the right scroll wheel here, which is why it said no signal when I was holding that down before. That's a way that you can easily see the front camera and kind of switch between them. Audio output, built-in speaker, or if I press this, it changes to say, let me get this to focus, there we go, original Bluetooth, built-in speakers. You can swap kind of between the two, and again with your phone to change everything there. So now that I kind of have all of those completed, let me change the time zone. I need to change this, I believe it's plus, or I think it's -5 where I am. And hit return. Swipe up from here, 6:11. It might be, let me see. Oh, I'm actually one more hour negative, -6. Hit return. Swipe back up here, 5:12. That's what time it is where I am, PM. So some of the other features that we have here, you can actually pop open the doors. So let me press this one here. This is going to be the rear left door. I don't know if you heard that. I believe you might have. But the rear door on the passenger side is now popped open. So you have the ability to pop open doors, which is awesome. Let me readjust the zoom here. On both sides, the passenger front, driver rear, passenger rear. We have here for the mirrors, the seat adjustment, which is great. So if I press this button, it brings back the passenger seat. So let me fold this light down so you can kind of watch here. I'm just going to press backwards or press the button. Goes backwards, forwards. Now holding it down doesn't seem to actually move the seat. So again, this might need the firmware update, I'm assuming based on the mileage. I have to tap it each time and it only goes forward just a little bit. So not the greatest there, which again might just be because of the firmware. But we've got some other buttons on here. We have volume increase and decrease. Let me get the focus back on, hopefully. There we go, camera. But we also have Apple CarPlay. So you can use this device for Apple CarPlay to connect via Bluetooth, so you don't have to use the navigation that's in the car if you don't want to. Again, Android Auto, if that's what you have, and we already went through the settings here, and this just changes the Bluetooth to kind of be automatically on and then off. So great news that it is functioning, it is doing what it says, and it shows it's 57 degrees outside right now. I just kind of go over to here, we can see 58 degrees. So it might just be a rounding thing between Celsius to Fahrenheit and a firmware update. So that's why it might just be a little bit different here. But the next steps that we're going to basically do is kind of finish the wire management piece down here. If it will focus, come on camera, there we go. We'll finish doing this. We'll run the wire through here, through the frunk. You do have to remove the tub of your frunk. It's just held on with 4 bolts. I'll walk you through it, very simple to do. But I do want to say kind of my initial first impressions of the quality. Come on, camera. There we go. Focus. The screen, even though it is only 720 pixel density, it's a nice crisp image. I'm kind of surprised by it. It is a gloss finish on it, which I'm sure you can see. In the background here, you can see my kind of fingers holding the phone. You can see the reflection of the steering wheel, but the quality of the image looks great. Don't have any concerns there about that. We'll, of course, go through a little test drive and see how everything was working and operating. I'll also show the front camera, which we'll be able to see by holding down the scroll wheel on the right-hand side. So let me move some of the stuff down here. I think we'll actually do the front first. Automatic front, highly recommend. This is a game changer to access everything in your front trunk, so you don't have to manually open it and then worry about when you're closing it that you're going to damage something. It is a breeze. So let me get everything. I got a few personal belongings in the front there. Let me get everything out of there, and then we'll go through removing that. So we're at the front of the vehicle now. There's 2 bolts right here and right here on the out part of the front, and then internally a bolt over here, another bolt over here. We need to remove all of those to be able to take the front out. So you can use a ratchet if you don't have a power tool. I'm going to switch over and just use a power tool to basically quickly undo these. So let me do that really quick and I'll be right back. All of the bolts are removed. So before we take the front out, we do need to remove the scowl that's kind of up here. I also just want to do a quick shout out for this front LED light strip. Is awesome to provide light at night. I'll put a link to the video kind of up here in the corner and down in the description. Very awesome to see things at night. To lift this up, super simple. Just grab kind of on both sides here and just pop up. Do the same thing on the other side over here. Let me walk over. And that's it. That just comes right off. I'm going to put this off to the side. Now, before you take the front out, over here would be another clip that you need to undo. I had service on my vehicle. They actually replaced my bumper because it had been scratched and there was paint peeling. For some apparent reason, there must have been, you know, Tesla and paint quality, not great, but they replaced it under warranty. But it doesn't look like they put back the clip that goes here. So I'll have to pick one up on Amazon so that way I can make sure everything is secured. But you just basically lift this out of place. It comes right out. The first thing before you pull this out though is you need to undo. There is a, move the camera here, emergency release latch that you need to open. It's a little hard with one hand holding the camera here. Let me grab that really quick. Pops into position. There's the 3 clips here at the top. You won't have to deal with some of this extra stuff that I have unless you have the front kit, but I am gonna unplug this. That way there is plenty of room to be able to pull the front out. So let me get everything unplugged, pull the front out, and then the last thing we need to do, which is just held on by 2 10 mil bolts, is the HEPA filter. You may not have this if you have an older Model Y, but we need to have access back behind there to the firewall. So I've disconnected the LED kit, and now we can basically lift the front piece up. And we're gonna slide through the hole, the stock plate there, and then this just pulls right out of place. And then the next step are the 2 10 mil bolts. There's one on this side. Comes right out. Let me get the other one. That's all done. And then this will just basically lift out of place. And again, we'll put this off to the side. And then let me get my light here to show you what we need to access. So I took the camera off the tripod here. Underneath here is this blue grommet, which is where I have the yellow wire coming out of it for the ECU for the auto presenting door handles. Basically gonna pop that off and then push through from the driver's side the purple wire, which is for the camera. So let me peel this off here. Trying to get away for you to be able to see, but I don't know if you can. There we go. That just comes right off. I didn't cut a hole or anything into it. There's already kind of a slot on each side that you can just kind of line the wires up in when you push it in. But that way it's an easy way to run the wires. So let me go back into the driver's side and get the wire. I'm gonna show you where that pushes through. So to run the wire, there's actually a couple of push pins. You can see one right over there. There's one over there, another one over here. And then I think there's a fourth one. Yeah, right over here. You want to remove those so you can pull this panel down because you need to get access to the carpet to be able to pull it. And this is kind of in the way. So let me pull those push pins out. Again, just stick in your plastic pry tool to pull those out. Very simple. Actually on second thought, I thought it would just be easier to show this. So I just have this orange fishing wire. I've used this in a number of videos, pushing through down into that hole. And then in here, you can see it poking through right there. So I'm just gonna tape the end of the purple wire onto there and pull it through. And then I would probably suggest leaving a lot of the slack because you got tons of room in your frunk. That you can just zip tie and secure it in there versus trying to stuff everything back into here. So let me get that wire pulled through and we'll kind of go through what the next steps are. So you can see I was able to pull that wire through that hole. So I'm just going to pull basically as much as I can out into the front, and it feels pretty tight there. And I got lots of room to be able to run everything. So I would suggest basically running it underneath the HVAC as best you can. To be able to kind of pop out down to over here. So use your hands to kind of feel around with kind of what the best path is. Getting ready for that Mike Tyson fight tonight, so talking like like that. So let me finish kind of running the wire, and we're basically going to run it down to over here because the camera is going to mount down to up here, and we'll be able to push through. There's a little vent down here that you can push through with the other side of the camera. So what I decided to do was after the wire comes out through the grommet, ran it behind the HVAC system, kind of by the yellow wire, down this way, underneath here, and then it comes out, I had to come out over here. Then we gotta get it to the front of the car. Now, there is this kind of shroud right here over the radiator, but hopefully you can see there's, let me try to move it. Here we go. On this side, at the edge of it, down where my fingers are, right here, is like a rubber piece. And you can lift this up, shove, and you can see kind of the white part of the wire right where my finger is. Shove that through, and that comes out right there. So there's this like vent that can open to suck in air, which is open right now, hence you can kind of see the wire coming through. But we're gonna run the wire over towards the middle by where the license plate is to be able to secure the front camera to it. So let me pull the wire and then I gotta go find where I put the front camera. So I ran the wire from the right side on the top here. You can kind of see it through here. And then I've just secured this to my quick release license plate with some zip ties. That way I don't have to drill into the bottom of the bumper. This way it is just attached with some 4-inch zip ties that I crank down real tight and then cut off the edges. So in the future, if, say a zip tie breaks, I can just quickly replace it. I don't have to worry about drilling into the bumper. If you don't have, or I'll put a link to this in the description. This basically allows you to attach a license plate within literally seconds. And then there's a security bolt. I can move the light on this side. That way no one can just come up and remove your license plate holder. But this just attaches to the bumper, and I just have this attached to here. I did put it together with the mount that it comes with. Literally takes 2 screws to put the sides of this on, and then there's a back clip or plate that screws into the camera. But then this way the camera is mounted onto here, and I don't have to worry about it falling off. It does move a little bit. I'll probably secure the zip ties maybe a little bit more. Sorry about that. I hit the button with my phone to stop recording. You have the option to use also 3M adhesive double-sided tape here, and then the camera comes with these 2 screws. So if you did want to permanently attach the camera to the bottom of the bumper, you do have the ability to kind of use that and then screw in. I just have the zip tie coming through the hole in the back here, but you could attach it to your bumper if you wanted to. So now that we have the camera run, let me go and kind of put everything back together in the front. Well, I guess let me just do a quick sanity check inside the car. So I'm in the driver's seat. I'm just going to hold down the button here. We can see the screen update to now the front camera. I know the light's right in the way, so you get that bright image there. But you have on the left side of the screen your front camera, on the right side of the screen kind of the view that you would see on like the Model S or X, like when you're parked, your dashboard kind of way. So you have quick access to kind of both features here. Let me kind of put everything back into position. I'll clean up the front area down here. Now that that's all completed, I'll put the front back together, and then we can kind of run through some of the features of this screen. I am going to reach out to Teammate where I got this from to ask about the firmware, because I want to make sure that those issues with the mileage display, or right now showing the odometer is 0 miles when I know it's not, that just may have to sync after driving the vehicle. But when I run through some of the features, I know it's nighttime right now. I don't know if I'll have enough time to do this tonight, but I definitely will during the day, to either tomorrow or the next day, to kind of be able to walk through some of the fantastic features that this front dashboard screen has. So just to kind of illustrate here, I'm just doing a quick drive at night, but you can see I have on the left side of the screen the front camera, and then on the right side of the screen is kind of the vehicle statistics. You can see it says 17 miles an hour. I'm in drive, of course, and some of the other stats. Let me just do a quick turn here. All right, apologize for that. But it has kind of all these nice little stats and everything up here. Alternatively, if I hit the back arrow here and go back to kind of the page, we can see it now has CarPlay. I've connected my phone via Bluetooth to the connection, and I'm just driving in a neighborhood here that I found. And I put in the directions just as an example to like a state park. But now we have Waze on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side of those same stats, and you can see the vehicle picture on the right-hand side. You can see if I let go of the accelerator, the red shows up because it is braking. It has the speed limit right here, which is the same speed that's listed right here. So it's showing kind of the same information. We can see it has the green lights, the fog lights, the automatic lights are enabled, which is the same thing that's right here on this side of the screen. So it has basically everything that you would see within your vehicle on the main MCU right here visible for you to be able to view on your dash. So I've left CarPlay just to kind of show now what you see on kind of the main display as if it was like a traditional speedometer. So we can see on the left-hand side, we are going 17 miles an hour. I guess that's equatable to 42, 45, 50 HP. I'm assuming that stands for horsepower, not entirely sure, but the same type of stats now that would be populated. Let me just pull over here. So the same type of stats that you would see on the main screen, we can now see on the right-hand side. Now, if I zoom in a little bit, we can see the odometer is now populated, which is great because it was showing 0 before. We have the temperature over here in the bottom right. We can see on the bottom what gear we're in this case, drive. If I put it in park, it kind of goes away, and we can see that listed here. I'm just waiting for a car to pass me so I can press on the brake pedal again to be able to go back to what we saw on the screen. camera comes up. So there might be a setting where by default the camera comes up. I need to kind of look into the settings more a little bit to figure it out. But we can see kind of on the bottom, regenerative braking. So between it recharging the vehicle and using power, which is great to see. The bottom left here, the overall battery indicator, 69%. If I look here, I can see that's the same thing, 69%. So that's matching up. The range though, obviously not 1,211 miles. That would be great if it was. But we have the same kind of stats up here, the actual speed, we got the lights on, we got everything that we would basically need to say or need to see. And then it has illuminated this like kind of parking brake symbol, as if I had the parking brake on, which, you know, in essence right now I'm in drive, but I don't have the vehicle actually moving. So I press the accelerator and you can kind of see that just goes away immediately. I let go of the accelerator and the car kind of parks itself again, even though we're still in drive. So some great kind of features are showing there. We can see at the top of the page here, the little kind of CarPlay symbol. H is for hold, because the vehicle's basically in hold, even though it's in drive. So some fantastic features, and I believe we can change kind of the displays here. Let me look into the settings really quick to see if we can cycle between the various options, because I think you can choose from different display types. So within the settings, there's this theme option where you can change the various themes that show up when you're, you know, kind of driving the vehicle. So I've put it on theme 1, and we can see it does go to the camera first. I need to look to see if there's a setting to change that. But now we have a completely different view of kind of what the dashboard, I guess you can call it, would be, or the main display. You got your PSI on the left side of the page. I need to look to see if maybe the firmware update will fix that, because I do have the PSI kind of displayed here. So it just may need to sync, or it may be a firmware update. But then everything is, you know, just one central display, and to be able to see your speed. So let me put it back into park and change the settings to kind of one of the other themes here. Oop, that was Bluetooth. Hit the wrong button here. We'll change it to 2. Go back here, slide this back up, put it back into drive, exit the camera, and now we have a very simplistic view where it just now is the PSI, your car in the middle, and then just the speed on the right-hand side. That's a nice little kind of simple display and simple view here. If I go back to the settings and see, this is, I believe, the first one that we saw, where it was just the original display that we had during the initial video. Yes, that's what this one is. So there's a couple of themes that you get to pick from going through the various cycles. And then the last kind of thing here that you can choose within the settings is the phone link. So do you want kind of the Apple CarPlay showing up all the way across horizontally on the screen? So right now it's on full screen. So if I go into CarPlay, we can now see this is taking up the entire screen, where before it was just the left-hand side, and then the right-hand side was kind of that little vehicle. So you can choose between the two. What do you want showing up? And then to exit CarPlay, it's just this little car button here. Bam, we're back at kind of the main settings page. So this is kind of a quick overview of it. I do need to connect the car's Bluetooth to the Bluetooth of the screen. So that way, I believe if you are receiving a phone call, you can have it sync to the car Bluetooth, because otherwise, if you get a call now, it's just going to come through the speaker of here versus the speaker of the car. So to make a software update, you can do it right on your screen. You can just click the settings button from swiping down at the top. Then down here in the bottom, you want to click this OTA upgrade button. And then when that comes up, on the bottom here, you want to click this CAN OTA. And you're basically on your phone, you're going to turn off your Bluetooth and your Wi-Fi, turn on your hotspot. You want to set your hotspot name to car. Now, if you're on iPhones or Apple products, you just basically have to go to your general about and rename your phone to whatever it is, to just say car, all lowercase like that. And then you set the password to 1234567 8. You can change your phone name back to whatever you want and your hotspot password back to whatever you want after this update. But by doing these steps, your screen will download the update automatically. And this download button down here in the bottom left will be something that you can click on. So I'm going to do that on my phone, change my phone name to car, and then set the password to 1234567 and then see if this download button works for me. So just to show here quickly, I renamed my phone to car and changed my password. And now you can see the download button is darker gray. So it's actually clickable because it's connected to my phone hotspot. So it should download everything, which we can see right here. And it's going to take a little bit to download via the hotspot from my phone. And it will automatically apply the update to the screen. So I'll post back when this is completed. So the update just completed. We can see here now the range on the bottom left is showing 210 miles versus the 1200 that it was showing earlier, and 77% battery life. If we look over here at my screen, we can see it is showing 77%. If I tap on it, 210 miles as the estimated range. So that software update has fixed kind of those issues that we were seeing with the range not working correctly. So I did want to also add some of the other features that you can use on the wheel is if you just scroll down, it turns on the front camera, which is great. And then if you just click on towards the left, it just kind of minimizes it and goes back to the screen. So when you're driving your vehicle, just, scroll down on that right wheel and it will turn the camera on, and then push into the left will remove the camera. And then the camera, I did validate, it does stay on when you're looking at it here. When you're in drive, when you first put your vehicle in drive, for the first 20 miles an hour. After you go 21 miles an hour, the screen goes away. You can, of course, just, click on the left and minimize it, and it goes away as well. So you'll kind of be able to be a lot more comfortable using your screen, kind of just using these scroll wheel buttons, and you never even have to actually touch the screen to support all of those actions. So I know this was a pretty lengthy video of how to install this 9-inch dashboard screen. I picked this up from Teammate. I'll put a link in the description below. It's available both with and without the front camera. I think it's $20, $30 more if you wanted the front camera option, which, I highly recommend. It's great to have that there. As well as for AMD and the older Intel version cars for Model Y or Model 3. So this was a kind of great addition. I'm pretty happy with it and the features that it offers me, the flexibility to see things right under the steering wheel, versus looking at the MCU. I know it's just a different direction, but it's a quick glance that you can look straight down versus down and to the right. And I'm very kind of happy with the overall installation process. I know it was pretty detailed. Feel free to drop any questions down below, and thanks for watching.